Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 155 of the Self-Publishing Roundtable. I am your moderator, Wade Finnegan, and I am joined tonight by Christian Keller-Hanna.
Hello all.
And Erica Conroy.
Hello, Internet.
And our special guest for this evening is Rosa. I want to make sure I didn't get the last name wrong. Swann, Rosa Swann, and she's been so nice to come to us from over in the UK, so we got her up really early this morning. She's in a very popular genre, romance, of course, but got a little twist with it, if you will, and she's in a gay romance, and it's been doing quite well. Got a very fanatical audience, as Erica had put on the post, and so we thought we could bring her on, talk a little bit about how that is working with that genre, how she's doing, finding her audience, and all those things. So, Rosa, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, or this morning.
Well, thank you for having me. And it's the Netherlands, not the UK.
Oh.
Okay, that's not my bad. My pre-notes. I'm just gonna say that right now. But okay, the Netherlands. All right. So again, thanks for coming on and getting up so early. We really appreciate it. So
yeah, no problem.
Why don't we give you this brief introduction about how you got into writing and how you got to this point in your writing career?
I've been writing most of my life. When I was really young, I started out writing science fiction, and I'm not sure why. But I didn't read any science fiction. I read fantasy, but I started writing science fiction. And as I was progressing with my world, at one point I had so many male characters in my story that instead of trying to double them up with women, I decided, well, hey, you know, there's bound to be some that is gonna double up with men. So. And I guess from that point on, I've never written straight characters ever again. Maybe side characters, but never any main characters anymore. And I just sort of stuck there. And I've been writing gay fiction and some gay romance for the past 10 years now. So yeah.
So this wasn't a new thing for you, the self-publishing thing, obviously, but you were doing this before that became.
Yeah. I've only used self-publishing for a little over a year now.
Oh, nice.
A year and a half, something like that. But yeah, I've been writing way before that.
So how did you get introduced to self-publishing? When did you decide that this was going to be a thing for you?
I was doing my master's at university, and I decided, well, I'm still in school, I'm still, being supported otherwise, and I saw how much fun and success other people are having, and I thought, well, I'm writing anyway, I can try do something more with that. So, yeah, I made some friends, and I started publishing.
And it's been really good ever since. So from your last question, we understand that you don't write primarily any male-female heterosexual romance, but do you write it at all?
No, not really. It's been almost all gay romance for me for the last couple of years. I've written some other characters, but nothing that would qualify as straight romance.
Do you find that there's a difference at all?
I don't know, really. I do read a lot of straight romance. I've got a couple of good friends that do write it, and I read it a lot. But I don't actually know if there's that much of a difference that you could just, point towards. It's all about subgenres, and there's two guys, or three guys in some cases that I write, instead of a guy and a girl. And sure, that's gonna bring differences. That's always gonna bring differences, but I'm not sure if it's that different on a genre level.
What differences do you find that it brings out in you, or what are the things that you like to highlight? I can't talk, or play up in your own personal brand of fiction. When somebody opens a Rosa Swann novel, what are they going to find?
Um, a lot of, I don't know, damaged characters. Quite a few of them are damaged in some way. I've just finished Feathers and Microphones, a serial I started last year that I finished just last month, and there you've got an angel a guardian angel who has lost his last charge. So he's very reluctant to, take someone else under his wings, quite literally. And so yeah, you have things like that, and that's the kind of stuff that I like. It's a bit that they're reluctant to get into relationships, and there sometimes need to be a little bit more than just, hey, you look good.
Do you want
To actually convince them that, hey, maybe this could be more.
So it sounds at least from that description, it sounds like it's a much more emotional based, as well as a lot of sexy fun time. Would you say that?
Yeah, I do like to, play with emotions. Yeah, stuff like that. Sure, I like writing the sexy times, and that's always going to be fun, especially when you've got, like, a rocker who wears leather pants and corsets and things like that. And sure, that's fun, but overall, emotions, and especially dark emotions, that's what I do like to focus on.
Now, how do you find your audience? What sort of things did you start off with building up your audience?
Mostly, I've just found people on Facebook. I'm part of quite a few Facebook groups, and I post there. And at that point, sort of people start finding you, and that's usually how I do it. I don't really have a big thing. I do some promotions, but mostly I interact on Facebook because that's at least what I've found. There's most of the audience. They like finding books, and so mostly I try there.
And you find finding folks on Facebook and just interacting with them. Mostly a good group, just fun and just lively to interact with, mainly?
Yeah, in some cases, and in other cases, I do just dump some promotion line, like, "Hey, new book out! Come see!" But that sort of thing too. But yeah.
Do you have an email list built up as well?
Yeah, I've got a short email list. It's not that big. I'd like to grow it, but I'm not patient enough for it.
We get that a lot. We get a lot of people are like that. It's like, I want to, but yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, the mailing list, because you participated in the romance promo that we ran the other month, and you got quite a few sign-ups out of that. Have you poked them yet to see if they're going to stick around, or have you had any response from them?
Not yet. I've been really busy with a lot of things. But I should be poking them somewhere in the next week when I've got another release coming up and stuff like that. But I've been really crazy busy.
Any of that book related?
Yeah.
You want to give us a little taste of what's coming down the pipe?
The next book with Wolf Spectre, our planning and things like that. So it's a bit crazy, and I'm going to show some pretty. We've just released paperbacks.
Ooh, I want to see pretty. Ooh, that's pretty.
click on that for you. There you go. Yeah, leave them up there for a second. Yeah, for those people that are listening to audio, sorry you can't see those. Those are good looking covers, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really lucky with my cover artist.
Well, we're going to ask about them in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, these were just, I think, released a week or two ago, so we were all over that.
And what series is that?
That's the Baby Pact twice,
Mm-hmm.
and Mated to the Alpha. This is the MPreg serial that sort of got everything going. We released the whole serial as one big novel.
Nice.
So that people can actually, you know, grab a copy of the book, not just read on the e-readers. There's got to be people who like that. I like it. It looks pretty.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. And it always makes you feel good having one on your shelf, right? I mean, it's, yeah,
Definitely.
part of it.
So, Rosa, I'm going to tell you this. I had not heard of MPreg until we were running the promo, and Erica sends me a line saying, "Hey, we got an MPreg romance." I'm like, "A what now?" And I'm seriously, I'm like, I'm not going to judge because there's room for all of us, truly. But I was like, I was stunned that this was a thing, right? And the more I looked into it, I'm like, wow, this is a really big thing. So tell us a little bit about your brand. I'm not going to have you be the card carrying spokesperson of all MPEG authors, but tell me a little bit about a common trope or common stories about a male pregnancy series or male pregnancy book. Number one, let's start with plumbing and physics.
Magic. Magic.
Oh,
Magic,
okay.
Magic. It's
I'm
all
playing
magic.
in a world that's paranormal romance anyway, and I do remember, especially in Mated to the Alpha, that there's literally in the second book where my character asks, "Then how does it work?" And his dad says, "Magic," and that's the only answer he'll ever get. Magic.
So pretty similar to a lot of sex ed in American high schools. Ooh.
Oh. But you're probably right, yes. But anyway.
Down in the South.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right next to the cabbage patch. I'm laughing because she ain't lying, folks. All right, then. So it's magic and going through the process of pregnancy. How do you make that sexy? Because I've had two of them, not particularly.
How do you make it sexy? Well, it always helps when the alpha actually finds it sexy. That's always a good thing. When the other guy actually finds it sexy. And yeah, it's I guess when you're actually doing the sexy times, you sort of have to change the dynamics when everything starts growing. And that means you can have a lot of things like fun in the shower, which sort of becomes a bit more easy than, you know, fun on the bed. And so you sort of do different things. And when you've got characters, as in, well, again, Mates to the Alpha, where they are sort of reluctant to actually get into that relationship, then you have to grow that side right next to the whole pregnancy growing thing.
And the cake and the stretch marks.
And the stretch marks and all the other fun stuff. Lots of belly rubs and back rubs and things like that, even when they sort of can turn into other types of rubs.
Who are you finding that your audience is mainly? Is this gay romance written for women or for men, or does it even matter?
I guess when you're talking purely gay romance, I'm not sure if it matters a lot. The audience is mostly women, as is most romance. That's simply how the genre works. It's going to be mostly women who are reading this, and for gay romance, I do think there's probably more men reading this, but overall you're still working with romance tropes, and I know quite a few gay authors who have huge success with writing gay romance, and a lot of female authors who have huge success with writing gay romance, and a lot of transgender authors who have huge success with writing this. So I don't actually know if it makes that much of a difference writing it, but yeah, it's a lot of women who are going to read this, and when you're writing romance, that's going to be who you're going to be writing for. I think there's a difference when you're talking purely gay fiction, but gay general fiction or other types, but when you're just talking romance, it's going to be mostly women who are reading this. So that's who you're going to focus on as an author, because you know where your audience is.
So are you still hitting all the common romance tropes, regardless, or basically?
Yeah, I do try to. It does make everything a bit easier to focus on.
Kitty!
Yes, you can be very... Yes, sweetie.
Who is that? Stealing some camera time?
That's Aga. She's our baby girl. Our princess.
Again, for our audio listeners, that's a cat. But we love cats in the show.
And we like them when they jump up and they want to give their answer to the question.
Yeah, that's right.
And Mickey's currently in a box beside me on the floor, so hopefully he'll stay there.
Heather has a question, but first I think I might want to get some context to it. In your series, is it a single pregnancy that we are talking about, or a series of pregnancies?
Both of the series have one single pregnancy. I know that's not how it's usually done, but I like writing it that way. Most other authors usually focus on one pregnancy per book, so if you get multiple books in a series, you get multiple couples that you focus on, but until now I've usually just one pregnancy, one book. Well, no, one pregnancy, one series. I'm not a short writer. I like to sort of drag things out a bit.
That's not a problem, especially if folks love to read it.
Yeah.
The question was, how do you keep writing about the same center focus, which is the pregnancy, and not without it being repetitive?
I guess a lot of it is like planning up front. When we started focusing on Mated to the Alpha, the first story was written quite quickly, and then it was like, oh, wait, this is actually popular. So then the second story came, second part of the serial, and then the third part of the serial, and on and on and on. And so when we were at the third part, we were like, this is not going to be wrapped up in 3 or 4. So we planned out a couple more, and then we realized there were going to be 8 parts, and then you sort of start planning how you're going to do, like, well, what's going to be the next sexy time they're going to be having, and what part of the story are we going to focus on in the next part, and so you do sort of have an overarching story, but also the smaller stories within each book, little book.
How many words are you talking about there across all 8 books there in total?
Across all 8, it's around 90,000 words in total. It's just over 10,000 words each. well, 11,000 words each, and adding up to about 90,000 words in total. But Wolf was mainly doing short stories at that point. Only while we were actually working on this did he also release longer stories, but or start release novels. But we started this when he was purely doing short stories, so it for Wolf length 10,000 words was quite normal. And for me too, when I started out, most of my serials from before I started working with Wolf were also around 10,000 words long. Most of the stories in those, so that's. But latest series that we're working on now is are 60,000 words, so full-length novels.
Okay.
So that is a great segue right into your writing day. What does your writing process look like? Let's start with words per day.
I do try to get around 3,000 words a day, but that's not always gonna work, especially not when you've got like other stuff to do. Self-publishing does require quite a lot of your time with all the promotion and other things I have to take care of, and so yeah, I usually work from 9 till 12 in the morning, and then from home, and then I move on to the library, and I work from 1 till 5 there. So I do work quite a few hours. I'm sometimes I do put in more hours, but I do try to keep it to like work hours, or I get like all crazy and overworked, and I've got good productivity for a couple of weeks, and then I'm out for 2.
Right.
And that's not helpful. And until 3 months ago, I also was still doing my master's degree, so I was doing that on top of writing. So it's only been since May that I've been doing this full time.
My goodness.
So there's been quite a few changes in the last year.
What's your master's in, if I may ask?
Writing, editing, publishing.
Ah.
Which was mostly just reading about fiction, and there's a cat who tries to jump off the shelving unit. Come on, there we go.
And it's big.
But
for those who are in the audio, a black and white cat just kamikaze cat kitty bomb our guest.
Yeah, there was our other cat. He just jumped onto my desk so he could move on. Because there's shelves all to my side, and we just changed around my desk. So I've got a bit more of an office instead of just me with my back to the living room. So they're still trying to get used to the new layout.
Well, it's a pretty sweet looking office, I gotta say. You got a lot of shelving and books in there. It's very organized.
Yeah, that's my collection. I don't actually have the space for everything. I keep changing stuff around, so I'll have more space, hopefully. But there's only so much space. Don't jump on everything.
Ginger one's back.
And then we just had our ginger kamikaze kitty bomb.
Wait, isn't that reverse kamikaze kitty bomb?
Yes, it is.
Jumping up.
With a twist.
Yeah.
Kind of kamikaze kitty climber. There we go.
Yeah.
So how long does it take to write one of the serial installments and one of the longer ones as well? How many days does the process take?
For one of the serials, we were usually able to get them out with every week or every 2 weeks. It sort of depended on everybody's schedules. And the novels usually take about a month to write, but then there's editing and getting an editor ready and all the other stuff. So about 2 months, 3 months on that, because all the other stuff that just comes along with it. So yeah, I can do the words quite easily and quite quickly if I put myself to it, but there's so much else going on that I can say, oh, I can write it in a month, but then it's still going to be 2-3 months before it comes out because of all the other stuff that's going on.
Oh, go ahead, Garrica.
I was just going to say, now that you've finished your masters, you do have a chunk of time now available to allocate to it, so hopefully it won't take as long.
Yeah, I hope, but that's not actually how it works, sadly enough.
Actually,
I've got a couple more hours during the day to actually do it, but a lot of things are not actually in my hands.
So yeah, actually, I think some of our listeners, especially with somebody that's neck deep in it now and really starting to pump out books and doing it full time, talk a little bit about some of those extra things that maybe you didn't realize before you got into self-publishing.
Editing takes quite a long time. For some of my early serials, I didn't have an editor because I wasn't making any money. I was literally, I don't know, making a couple of bucks. Not a lot. I could barely cover any promotions, and I don't do expensive promotions, but I could barely cover promotion costs. So I self-edited, and because I had learned a lot, and so it wasn't that much of an issue for me. And during that time, I was surprised by how long it took. I wrote the 10,000 words, but then it still took me 4 or 5 hours to actually edit everything until it was publishable. So that takes quite a while. That takes almost half the time that it actually takes me to write something. And for the novels, I send it off to the editor, so the book's gone for another week or 2. That I can't do anything with it. You're just sitting on your time that you have to wait for the editor to get everything back to you. I work with a cover creator that I really love. So you're usually waiting on that. I give her like requirements. It has to look like this or that, and then I let her do her thing because she's amazing. She knows everything so well, so I just let her do everything.
How did you find her?
Wolf recommended her, so that's basically how I found her.
Yes, that's fine if you references.
Yeah, she's done a lot of the Wolf covers, so Wolf was used to working with her, and I adore her work. She's amazing, and she just really knows how to hit all the genre tropes on the cover. And that's going to be kitty.
We got a lot of dive bombing with cats tonight.
Lots of drinking game, audience.
No, I can hear it. They've got a bell, so I can hear them move around. So I know when they'll jump.
You just want to be part of the show. That's all.
Yeah.
They always want to be part of everything.
What was there anything else that stood out to you that you were like before you got into this? You thought, oh wow, I didn't realize this.
There's quite a lot of stuff that goes into like reaching out to readers.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of something that I had to learn the hard way when I just started out. And I was like, oh god, how am I going to do this? And okay, Facebook groups, okay. And I luckily found some people who could help me out with like, this is a good group and that's a good group, you should look into that. But that still takes a couple of hours a week to do stuff like that. And even now I've got all the books out and I'm working on new stuff, I have to keep doing that. That's sort of a thing that keeps going. I didn't realize at first how much I'd be doing that. But yeah.
Is it that if you're like me and you're just like, I don't know what to say to these people, they looking at me, what do I say? Or is it just the time it takes to communicate with folks and put your ads up? Which one is that? What's the difficulty?
I have to wait until quite late in the evening for
Mm.
me, like right before bed for me. I go to bed around 9, so that's like in the middle of the day in the US, but that's the last possible moment for me to actually post something that most of the world will see. Because if I post in the early morning, only Europe's going to see it.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So I have to post really late in the day.
Do you have a Facebook page, or do you just use your own profile for your
I do have a Facebook page, and I've got a profile, both, because you can't actually post to groups with your Facebook page. So.
True. Yeah, because I was going to say with the Facebook page, you can actually schedule posts, so that should make it a little bit easier. But you're right about
page. That's
the
easier.
groups. Yeah.
Yeah, the groups aren't able to do that. No. So yeah, and of course answering messages from readers. That's something I also do.
You get buried in email? Do you get a lot of email?
No, I don't really get a lot of messages. Just a couple of here and there every week.
Okay.
But it's always fun. It's always fun to hear from readers. I love it. I love it when people reach out and they're like, "I read all your books," and I'm like, "Thank you, I love you."
How many titles total do you have? I don't know if you said that or not, but.
Let's see, I've got 5-part serial for Feathers and Microphones. I've got the 8 parts for Mated to the Alpha, plus a couple of box sets. I've got 5 parts on Lunar Pack, which is an earlier serial for me, which hasn't finished yet, because after I was done writing Baby Pact and Wedding Pact, I was sort of like, I'm not sure if I want to write another threesome this closely together after just writing a lot of them. So I finished Feathers and Microphones first. I can probably Google it. I don't even know from the top of my head how many in total.
That's probably a good sign. That means you got lots.
My husband asked me how many books I had as well the other day, and I was like, because we were in the car. I can't look that up. I'm in the car. I was like, I don't know.
I have books written.
Amazon tells me 27 publications, but that is including a box set that
We count those.
we've got. Yeah. So 27 publications in total, and that includes a couple of box sets from series and stuff like that, and a box set with different authors in it. So yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the box set? How did you get involved in that?
There was an ad in one of the groups I was part of from someone that I knew, because it's through. Let me just check if it actually says it on the page. Yeah. The Naughty List is a promotion website that I do regularly promote on because they're awesome. And so they had an ad somewhere saying, "Hey, we're looking for gay romance authors for a set." And I was like, "Oh, sure." Why not? Looks fun. Because, yeah, that was in May, so it was right after the release of Baby Pact.
You seem like
right around that time.
Sorry, you seem like you really love doing this.
I do. I really love doing this.
What is it about it that just brings that smile to your face?
I love writing. I love the publishing part of it. I love all the characters. I really love writing the characters and getting the story out, and sort of I'm a planner mostly, but my outline looks like this chapter, they meet. And that literally is what it says, they meet at somewhere. Or they see each other across the room here. Or this is a sex scene. And I just plan out like what happens where, but when I start, I've got no idea what actually, you know, when I'm there, what's actually going to happen. They're going to have sex, okay? You know, where? I've got no clue. But I don't need to worry because that's another 50,000 words away. So I can worry about it when I get there.
Wherever they end up at the chapter before that.
Yeah, sort of like that. I do try to keep it sort of private, but not always. So preferably a room at home, sort of, sometimes. Not always.
What kind of research do you do to prepare yourself for writing the sex scene? I mean, you just make it up in your head, or do you look at gay porn, or what?
I read a lot of gay romance, so on the other hand, I have sex with men, so I sort of know, from the receiving end, sort of what it looks like and everything, and I can sort of imagine what it goes on the other side.
Right.
And then you do a little bit of research, and then you read a lot, and then you sort of go, and what would my character do? What would they do? And what would they think about something? And then you sort of start writing that.
Where would you rank yourself on the scale of 1 to 10 for explicit scenes? Is your book really steamy, or is there some more clothes behind the door stuff, or how's that?
Probably around a 9 for some of them. I do like things explicit. Like, I know what's going on. There's no hiding what's going on there.
Okay.
Is that like experiencing the flavor of his cum kind of explicit, or
No.
Okay, that's a 10, right?
That's more of a 10.
Thanks for the clarification, Erica. I appreciate that.
For our audio listeners,
The audience wants to know.
I did have a question. Oh, I'm sorry, Christian, I'll talk over you. When you say with your plotting, which sounds like it's very limited, do you ever get stuck? Do you ever write yourself into a corner?
Yeah, I do regularly, and sometimes that simply means I need to reread everything I've got. Sometimes it's just that I've pushed myself too far, so I'm sort of at the edge of where I'm possibly seeing what's going on. So I reread everything I've got up till that point, and usually I can move forward from that after doing a few little tweaks around earlier parts, because it often means that I leave breadcrumbs, and when that happens, I've usually forgotten to put a couple of breadcrumbs in along the way. So I need to go back and put those back in so I can actually move forward, so I know where I'm going. And I don't usually take out whole scenes, but I have on occasion with the Baby Pact, I was going and I was nearing the end of the chapter amount that we were working with, and I was going, but this is not the end of the book. And I was like, I've planned everything out perfectly, but I need about another 8,000 words, and I did not plan for those 8,000 words, but I'm going to need them to actually finish this story up. So, ooh, kitty!
Yay! Not to be outdone, Wade has pulled his kitty out. Whipped his kitty out there.
That's his radar. Say hi, radar.
Radar. Looking like Drow. Get your hands off of me.
Well, everybody else had their cat on. I had to have a cat. You heard him.
I hear a kitty.
This is going to be the cat show. New podcast.
Asked, do you use vellum to format your ebooks?
Yeah, I got vellum early in the year, and For the serial I finished, I reformatted early books with Vellum. I love the program. Although I used to hand code everything in Sigil.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of hand coding going on there, and I do have a little bit of a background in coding. So hand coding ebooks for me was quite easy, and so I do find it quite restrictive to actually work with. I like having a bit more freedom in what I do. On the other hand, it's a lot faster, and I don't have to worry about a lot of little things going on or going wrong in some cases. So yeah, that's something. On the one hand, yes, I love Vellum to work with. It's really fast, and it basically means I dump in a book and it comes out all pretty. But on the other hand, yeah, I like having a bit more freedom, which I do miss when I work with Vellum.
Do your family and friends know what you write?
Yeah. Very yes.
What do they think? What do they think?
They think it's odd. But that's not that strange. In the Netherlands, writing romance overall is seen a bit of odd. And so it's very high literature here. Come on, stupid camera.
Or get,
All the cat jumping. Yeah, that's not any better.
That's what happens when the cats decide they're going to be cinematographers.
Yeah, sort of. They were jumping all around, and it sort of dislodged it.
So actually, I'd follow-up question to that. So readership in the Netherlands, is it high for you there?
No.
Okay.
It's romance is very looked down upon, as is most genre fiction, which sort of makes it harder to sell here. But yeah, people find it weird when you're not writing high literature. If you're writing at all around here, they usually assume you're writing high literature and not
You can
romance.
be right. Just high literature, imprig, M on M, P&R, yeah.
Well, the thing is, ebooks are really a small market here, as in tiny, as big as it was in the US 8-9 years ago.
My good.
Tiny.
That's interesting.
So yeah, it's I mostly only do ebooks, so that's another hurdle on all of this going on. I find it really sad because ebooks are awesome, and I just spent 2 days, well, I should be doing other things, figuring out how I can easily get my print book into the Dutch book system thing with print on demand, and that's been hell trying to figure that one out. And so yeah, I'm trying to gain more of a readership here, but it's hard going when basically all you're used to is ebooks and Amazon and CreateSpace and everything that's easy, and you're just filling data and you go, here's my book, go make something.
Right.
So, the Netherlands being more literary fiction, I'm assuming that's what you mean by high literature, like literary fiction, like.
Yeah, they do like to brand it as high literature. It's like only the classics, or only those books that have high critical value in the newspaper, and things like that. I don't usually like those books.
So, are there genre bookstores in the Netherlands?
We've got general bookstores where they do sell genre fiction, but it's not. It's seen sort of as a. If you're reading that after you're 15, it's sort of seen as a dirty secret.
Oh.
You're not supposed to read that after you're 15. You're supposed to move on to real adult books, and that means reading real literature.
Oh, so they have like the little curtain you gotta walk behind.
No, but it's yeah. you're not very open. I'm a big fantasy fan, as you can
Mhm.
probably see from the shelves behind me. I'm a
Right.
huge fantasy fan, and that usually they look at you weirdly after you're like 15 or 18, and you tell, yeah, I read a lot of fantasy books, and they're like, do you want to read something like real? I'm like, they're books. They've got stories. They're pretty real. They've got any real literature, and I'm like what? Like this, and this, Arthur, and I'm like, yeah, no,
No.
I'm staying with my fantasy or my
Are there,
romance or anything else.
are there pew pew guns? Is there magic? No,
High,
but
high magic, high fantasy, high
I
adventure.
fancy.
So this is a question that someone from Keyboards asked. They said that 2 LGBTQ novels won Readers this year. Do you see LGBTQ romance novels getting more popular with romance readers?
I can only talk about gay romance as that's what I mostly know. But yeah, I've seen some of my friends hit like top hundreds on Amazon with their books and things like that. And yeah, definitely. A year ago, I wouldn't even see that. And I've known the industry for quite a few more years, and that's not something I used to see. So yeah, it's been really exciting for the last year, both with MPreg becoming big and like really grabbing attention from people within, especially gay romance community, and at the same time, gay romance novels overall becoming quite popular. That was something that's really I'm not sure surprised is the right word, but that really that was really good, really fun to see. It was really interesting.
Mm. Where do you
Have you?
think it in?
Oh, sorry. Are you Amazon exclusive?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's on the one hand it's easier as I only have to deal with one company, and with international things that's always going to be easier if you just have to deal with one company. And Amazon has Amazon also over in Europe, so we also don't have to worry about a lot of laws between countries as it's also Europe based. So it makes it a bit easier. Uh, unlike Smashwords or Orum's ebooks, companies that I really love because of what they do and how easy they make it to sell ebooks and to buy ebooks of different formats. But when it comes to me as an author and as someone who self-publishes, having fewer places to worry about and fewer laws and stuff and taxes and everything to worry about does sometimes just make it a lot easier. And it's not always an easy decision, as all romance ebooks is very popular with gay romance readers. So on the one hand, I'd love to reach out there and to actually do that. On the other hand, that requires time, and time that I'm still trying to find for other things in my life. Other things I need to take care of with writing and publishing.
One
So
day,
how
when
do
you get a virtual assistant, they can do it all for you. Yay!
Possibly.
So how do you balance your writing life with your non-writing life, especially coming out of university? And if it's anything like my master's degree, for every hour in class, I was 2 to 3 hours studying and writing
Um,
stuff.
yeah, when I was still doing my master's, I'd finished classes 2 years ago. So for the last 2 years, I'd only been working on my thesis, which required a couple of hours every day, especially since it was just a lot of work. And so yeah, I got those hours back to actually put into writing. At the same time, I pushed up my writing amount, and I started doing more. So yeah, balanced out quite quickly until yeah, this year I've published quite a few stories, or well, with Wolf together, we've published quite a few things, and I've been working really hard on other stuff. And at the end of June, I had a breakdown. I was working, and I went, fuck this. I packed a bag, and I went to one of the Dutch islands for a week. That was literally in one day. Monday afternoon, I said, fuck this. I packed a bag, and I went until the end of the week. And I did not do any work while I was there.
Nice.
I'd come out of doing my thesis right into doing a lot of promotions because a book just come out. I was working really long hours for that, and I was putting in way too many hours.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing weekends, I was doing evenings, and that was just not good for me. I'm still trying to figure out a work-life balance thingy, because that's not something I've been realizing I'm a bit of a workaholic. Which sounds fun until you realize it's really mentally draining.
That's all you do.
Yes.
It's fun until you're like, fuck this noise, I'm going to the coast.
Right.
But I'm glad to hear that you did just walk away from it and not try to put your nose to grind even harder.
I did that for the 2 weeks before that, and then I realized that was not working. I wasn't writing words. I was doing a lot of other things. That was at the same time as we were putting out the paperback, so we had to do a lot of proofs for that. We had to get the formatting right, and I was doing research for other books and things, and that was around the same time as that was finishing up Feathers on Microphones, so I was doing all sorts of stuff for that, and I was not writing, even though I was supposed to be writing a lot of words around that time, and I just couldn't anymore. I was stretching myself way too thin. I was not in a good place. So yeah, that was really a quick break from my life, and then I went back to it, and I've been working really hard since again, but it's been a lot easier.
Nice.
Now, besides the Facebook stuff, have you had any advertising that you thought was really successful?
I love advertising with the Naughty List, which has both a romance and an erotica list, and they're both really good. For a gay romance, I do a lot with, what's its name again? I've got a book that I use for this. Rainbow Shelf, I do for a lot of the gay romance. They're really good too. Yeah, it's run by another gay romance author, and they're doing a lot of good work with it. And Excite Spice, which is mainly erotica, but also does some romance promotions. That's basically where if I have to choose, I go through there, and they're really awesome. They're really quick, and they usually get back to you about promotions like, oh, yeah, that's going to work, or no, sorry, full. It's always a bummer when you hear that.
We had Selena Kurt, who I guess we can say owns Excite Spice and Aesthetica and all of that. We had her on the show a couple of months back, so
And
we totally know what you're talking about for once. Yay!
So yeah, that's mostly where I promote with, because they've got a good reach, and a lot of readers know about them.
It sounds like things are upticking for your career, at least, anyway, and in general but it sounds like things are starting to really click along, which is good.
Yeah, it's also fun because Rainbow Shelf hasn't been around that long yet, and it's really grown. Last half year, it's really grown, and it's been an amazing resource for gay romance books. So yeah, there's an audience. There definitely is an audience. It's sometimes just trying to find it that can be a bit of a difficulty.
All right, then in your bio on on Amazon. It says that by day you were a video game player, like me.
Yeah, I do spend a little bit too much time on video games sometimes.
There's no such thing.
I know.
Not in Krishan's world, there's not anyway.
My
But I've only
husband-
got that many hours in a day that I can actually do something, you know? There's only so many hours. And if I need to work, I need to like squish those hours in between them, like really closely so I can actually put video games in them.
So I know we talked about this before, but what are you playing now?
At the moment, I'm mostly playing city games like SimCity and City Skylines. Bit of Banished sometimes, which technically not a city simulator, but it's awesome anyway. And
More like Tropico, actually, isn't it?
Hmm?
Isn't Banished more like Tropico? Or is
I've never played Tropico. I've got it on my Steam. I actually think I've got it in my library even, but no, I don't. I haven't played that. I love. Banished has a really high difficulty level though. It's really, you're like, here, go. I'm like, okay, now what? It
Don't die, don't
requires
die.
a lot of
Oh, you
hours.
died. Don't do that. Have you had Godzilla come through yet in SimCity?
Yeah, a couple of times. No, not Godzilla. I had the red demon guy who keeps going into my garbage, and I have like this really high cost structure right next to my garbage, and there's no other place where it will fit.
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps destroying it, and I've had my city black out like 3 times because of it.
Oh.
Like it comes in and it blacks out my whole city because it ruins that future academy, I think it's called.
Yes.
And they just ruin that. And I'm like, fuck. And then I have to like scramble to get everything back together because of course it powers my power source, my electricity source, and my water source. So
That was
everything
bad
going
news.
They're not easy to move.
Not in
It's
real life
you.
either.
I've got like no other place in my city to actually place it, which is kind of annoying. And then I reached out and I built another city because it's easier.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I've got people over there. You need people. I've got people over here. Go work.
Yes.
No, Banished is a lot less forgiving though, especially in comparison to SimCity or City Skylines. Banishing is a lot less forgiving. It's when you do one thing wrong and like 10 years down the line, they're like, yeah, now everybody's dead. I'm like, how did that happen?
Years later.
Well, you did something wrong 10 years ago, and now everybody's dead. Oh.
No,
Oops.
I'm not dysentery. Thanks.
Oregon Trail.
I usually die of like not enough tools. It's like like the tools
Uh-huh.
that they need to work with, and I'm like, how the hell do you run out of them? Well, we didn't have enough iron for the last 5 years, and I'm like, oh, then why did you not tell me enough? Well, we told you, you ignored it. Oh, maybe it's my fault.
I built a Home Depot. What more do you want?
Well, actually, someone to make them. Oh,
That's too complicated.
I love it, but usually when I start, it's morning, and then I look up and it's like 8 at night, and I'm like, where did the day go?
And I didn't write a single word.
I didn't do anything else.
Oops,
Suddenly
now I've
the
got
day's
an hour
gone.
left to go to the toilet, eat all the food, sink into bed.
Well, luckily my boyfriend's also a gamer, so it happens to the both of us. And we're like, you may want to go have some food now. Yeah, it's been 6
Yeah.
hours.
Forgot to eat.
Can you get me some food? And I'll open my mouth and you can put it in.
Does favorite work where you are?
One more question, just which is on topic. for someone who wants to start reading gay romances, or impreg, PNR, that kind of thing, what authors would you recommend they start with, other than yourself, that is?
Can I say Wolf?
Yeah, sure, go for
Of
it.
course.
For especially Mpreg, Wolf has been one of the main authors to write it. He's not just worked together with me, but there's been other people, and he's done his own work. And other than that, for contemporary, I'd say Davies. He's amazing. He's really, really good. And other paranormal, but more urban fantasy than paranormal romance. I'd say, no, I need to get the name right. I can't mess this up. Gosh, she'll totally hate me.
Play a Jeopardy song.
Amelia Faulkner. She writes really cool urban fantasy books that I really, really adore. I've been reading everything she's written ever. I just can't stop reading them. She's really good. Other than that, there's so many authors that are awesome. One of my all-time favorites is Sean Michael, who I've adored since I read Bite. I think it was 8 years ago, maybe even longer ago. I read it and I fell in love with the writing style, and I've been reading that ever since. I just can't stop reading it. It's a lot more it's a lot more sex. It's more on the really long erotica stories than actual romance, but it's just so good. I can't stop reading it. Or rereading it, for that matter.
Nice.
What do you think the next genre will be for gay romances, or what gay stories? What do you think will be the next big genre that they'll break into?
If I knew, I'd start writing it, for one. But I don't know. Contemporary has been really big lately. Urban fantasy's been on its way out. Paranormal romance has been so-so. I don't know. I was really surprised when suddenly it was all like British football players at one time. I'm like, what? What's going on? Stuff like that. I was really surprised by that. I don't know. Sometimes something happens and you're just totally surprised by it. I never expected Mpreg to do as well as it did. It topped gay romance charts for a month at one time. End of last year, it topped gay romance charts for months, and I was so surprised by it. I never expected that. That was so. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah, that's really sometimes really hard.
Do you think that it kind of mirrors whatever's popular with straight romances, or?
Sometimes things like bad boy romances are popular in both categories, and stuff like that does cross over. On the other hand, yeah, maybe a bit. I don't know with Mpreg, because in some ways it's a bit different from the baby trope in straight romance than, for example, it is in the bad boys are very similar in tropes. So I don't really know if that is that much of an indication. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I did know, because that would mean I could write it and stuff like that. But
stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always better to be, the one that's sort of first, not the first, but sort of first, so that you get like the biggest popularity with it. But yeah, for that you need to really be on the market. And
Because you could just imagine like someone doing gay Star Wars or something, you know, this
there's
weird.
been
There's gotta be stuff like that.
an MPreg, a science fiction MPreg that I did really well a couple of months ago. And everybody was surprised by that. And then I'm like, yeah, but we keep getting surprised when something gets really big that you're really surprised by it. Like, nobody expected gay romance last year.
Right. Do you
Oh,
find
the
that
MPreg romance, I mean. It was something that was... It's been around in fan fiction for decades. And it has actually not really been around in published fiction. So when that suddenly got really popular, everybody was like, what's happening? So, yeah.
So maybe fan fiction would be the next place
Yeah,
to
but
look
then you
for
need to look
what's
back
coming next.
like 20 years ago to know. Because that's how long MPreg's been around there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I found out about it a few months ago, and I'm glad it's here.
Well, Rosa, thank you so. Or did I cut anybody off? Anybody have any questions? No.
And
Okay.
then,
Okay. We are at the top of the hour, so I'm trying to stay on task. But so, thank you so much, Rosa, for coming on. It was very intriguing and some good insight to things we did not know, right, Krishan?
and so much
Thank
better
you,
for the
Sophie.
knowledge.
Yes. Rosa, if our listeners want to find your books and such, or find you, where's a good place to do that?
Amazon. You can search me on Amazon. I've got a Facebook page, Rosa Swann author. I've got the website, rosaswann.com.
Okay.
And
Cool.
that's Twitter. I'm usually somewhere around Facebook or Twitter, hanging around doing stuff. So that's where you can find me.
Cool. Thanks for the live listeners tonight too. I know we didn't have a ton of questions, but we had a lot of people listening live, so appreciate that. We are going to be back on next Thursday with Wayne Stinnett, who was supposed to be on last week but didn't work out so well. So I hope everybody comes back for that interview. That should be really good. Erica, you want to give us an update on the promo?
Oh, yep, we've got like 48 confirmed sci-fi, fantasy, horror ebooks ready for the promo. Deadline to get your submissions in is the 20th of August. It only costs you $10 and you'll get a shit ton of people downloading your stuff. Well, maybe not a shit ton, because
Metric
only
shit ton.
romance is a shit ton, but, you know. Close.
Yeah. Close. There you go. Close.
Also want to do a shout out to Jasmine Walt. The multi-author box set that she was working on has reached the USA Today list and the New York Times list. Yay!
That's awesome. That is way
She'll be
awesome.
on the week after Wayne, so we're going to grill her about that and everything. So tune in.
Cool stuff. Of course, check us out on selfpublishingroundtable.com. Go latest blog posts, all that sort of stuff. Kashan, I don't want to forget you. Milk. I'm talking about milk. Isn't it?
Yes, we're going to talk about spilt milk.
Yeah.
Tales of Spilt Milk is on deck, and it'll be available on the 25th of August. You can pre-order now, though, and it's on Amazon. And actually, it's also going to be is it? No. Daughter of the Flood and the prequel to Spilt Milk, Black on the Stage, is going to be part of the promo as well. So if you're interested in getting a taste of the Alizar universe, come on down and join us.
Nice. Excellent. Get two plugs in there. So, all right. Well, we'll see everybody next week. And I really missed. There's no Canadian on tonight, so I can't. So I guess I don't know. Should I do this?
Yes, you should, because you're the closest to it.
Closest to. Yeah. Good night, internets.